anyone who wants to join, come down in this link. But if you're watching this, that is already over on the live stream. Well, here's my thoughts. DC is done as a company, as a comic book company. There is no way the DC is going to be really going to do that well. And I want to say that it's been a long down toilet of DC. It's been long down process of where everything has gone down. I mean, I'm not going to bullshit you. I personally feel no matter what anyone else says, I'm going to be totally honest. It was going to end up happening. I personally feel that doing a DC publishing by different publishers was just a cock tease of the inevitable. People were fearing the worst, and everyone was talking about it. Everybody was talking about it to where, okay, so apparently DC is going to be pretty much going to be falling to bankruptcy. Oh, there's my good friend Ren. Here we go. All right. You there?
I'm here.
All right. What's your thoughts on this shit?
Well, I just saw a video from ComboCast about Jason leaving. Wow.
You did? Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You did a video with him?
No, I just watched the video.
For a moment, I'm like, you talked to him already? Again? You beat me to it? I mean,
I did a podcast with Armin before.
Hell, I would love to talk to him. He's always welcome here. That's all I'll say. If you ever talk to him again, like, hey, if you want to talk to Comic Fan Gaming, he said you're always welcome here. If you always want. I think he's a lot better now. I mean, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Than his older videos, but that's just me. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm on with him. I mean, DC Comics, the entertainment brand is changing, and I realized a couple of weeks ago, and I just realized, eventually Disney is going to have to make a choice: either continue the 616 comic books, or end it, and then just replace it with the MCU comics. Do you think that will ever happen?
I think one day that's going to happen, that they're going to end the 616 universe.
Yeah, and honestly,
for starters, look at the What If. What If is mainly focused
on the yours truly, the MCU versions, and it's to me, I'm like looking at like a logical aspect, and like, look, why does Power Rangers, Conan the Barbarian, and I'm putting Conan the Barbarian for reasons, G.I. Joe, all these different brands make a load of money? Because the name and the familiar aspect. If you gave them Amazing Spider-Man, yeah, Spider-Man, the name alone will sell, but is that the version that people grew up with? No. It's been a long-running character that's been written by so many different writers.
Yeah, like for me, McFarlane's my favorite Spider-Man writer.
Oh, he's one of the best. He's one of the best. My favorite is Stan Lee, and I forgot the writers who did during that time period of the Death of Gwen Stacy storyline. I forgot the name of them, but anyway, that's my also favorite writer. But if you want to know, my hardcore favorite writer is Bendis. I love Bendis as a writer of Spider-Man, and he did the best thing in Spider-Man, replacing him with another character that fit that character, and also ending a story that, we had a character run into so many villains, kill him off, but also make him end it on a high note, and then maybe bring him back, or just bring a different version of Peter Parker that could approve. You get what I mean? I love Brian. I love Brian Michael Bendis, but that's just me. But the problem is, I just feel like the comic book age is done. I'm sorry. I'm like, people are barely going to comic books now.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people, they like to change with Sam Wilson being Captain America because, they never read the comic. Yeah, that's a big example right there of,
and that makes me kind of wonder. it makes me wonder, like, are they going to have him become Captain America now? Because I'm hoping so.
Well, yeah, that's what Captain America 4 is going to be all about.
Yeah, I'm like, we need to have him become Captain America. It was the stupidest decision that they did. And now looking at DC, I'm looking at it thinking, like, they fucked themselves. They fucked themselves in the worst way possible, along with Warner Brothers. I mean, this is a horrible way of doing things. And how do you feel about this? I mean, like, I talked about this, Tevya. How would you feel if yours truly Image took over DC Comics?
I think it'll be the best choice because Image doesn't treat their creators like shit.
Yeah, exactly.
They actually communicate with each other before someone takes on another series.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only. And I thought about
that was the whole point of Image Comics too when it was first formed.
Yeah, exactly. And Jim Lee will be right back where he was because he left Image. And the one thing that pissed me off on Jim Lee is like, oh, wait. You're telling me you lied to the people that you joined them because you wanted to fuck with Marvel. You wanted to give the FU to Marvel and DC. But now you're changing. Oh, wait. I take that back. I lied to you, and now I'm confessing. Ooh, I'm like, I'm going to be honest. If I was McFarlane or one of the executives, I wouldn't bring him back just for that reason. I would keep that grudge because if you lied to me, that means you're going to lie to me again. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So for me, I would fire Jim Lee and bring everyone into the Image. Bring everyone in for all the writers who are doing DC Comics into Image. And just keep the writer who did Batman, like just continue going forward. Don't fire everybody. Just slowly put the Image logo along with the DC logo, and the rest is history. Make a new Batman comic book along with the current Batman book, and just go forward. Or just reboot Batman and just pretty much start from scratch. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that would work mount loads. And I think a lot of times, I think personally, it also would cut the Crisis stuff that's happening right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Crisis, DC was supposedly going to do the Infinite Crisis type shit in 2025, and now like it doesn't seem like that's the case.
I remember they were supposed to do something with Dan Dietl was involved, the Generations or something like that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to start off the legacy characters.
Yeah, well, that was supposedly Future State, and I think they changed a bit of it. They're keeping some, which is the Future State Wonder Girl, which I really like. I think she's a really cool character.
Yeah, she's really great.
To me, she could be the responding towards Miss Marvel. I mean, that's what I see. You could bring a lot of things into that character that could really be diversity. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, as for the games, oh my God, Nightmare is going to come. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how would you feel about DC pretty much be more of a basically a selfish? Like what I'm trying to say is, how would you feel DC is going to be a studio that's pretty much a shadow of its former self?
Yeah, I kind of see that happening.
I mean, like, honestly, when I look at the games, I'm like, the only thing I'm worried about is NetherRealm Studios. I would give it to Capcom. I mean, give it to them. They're the only ones I could think I would be worthy of trusting. Or maybe Bandai to an extent. But yet again, I don't know if they want to buy it. I don't know AT&T is going to be looking at them as candidates. You get what I'm saying? Because they are really good at fighting games. Yeah. So I would be grateful. I'd be like, at least they're with a good company. Yeah, I know they have their bumps in a row, but at least I can accept them. You get what I'm saying? But yet again, I mean, what happens to the other games that are coming out? The Harry Potter game that's coming. I
think that's still going to come out no matter what.
Yeah, but I'm sure they were planning to do future DLCs for that game, along with the Gotham Knights game that's coming. Are they going to keep on doing that? Are they going to what's going to happen to the Lego games? Because I'm a big Legos guy and I really like the Marvel games, and I've been hoping that they were going to do Marvel Lego Superheroes 3 and have a solid trilogy. But how do you feel about all this? I mean, like, to me, I'm quite worried. I'm quite worried about the gaming division than I am with the comics.
I'm not too worried too much because I want to wait and see what happens, because there's a lot of assumptions going around right now. A lot of YouTubers are reading it as, oh, this is going to happen because of the merger. I mean, we thought something bad was going to happen when AT&T merged with Warner.
Yes, and like to me, there have been too many obvious rumors, and a lot of the rumors have been going on lately that I've been like, very true. And it's just, I wouldn't be surprised we wouldn't have a direction where they've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing for their own agenda. And I don't think that they're going to do what we hope they don't do, is where they don't sell DC Comics, they don't sell their gaming division, and the rest is history. And nothing happens.
I think it'd be dumb of them if they sell the game division, because that's a lot of money they're throwing away.
Yeah, that's the thing too. But yet again, AT&T, what I've heard and what I've been pretty much seeing is they're looking at the long run of their movies. And they're looking at the comics as like, why are we burning money if we could be using that with the TV shows and the movies?
Yeah.
And I think CW might be in the chopping block on some of their DC shows. That's another thing. But I do see happening is the Snyderverse not continuing.
Yeah, I keep calling and telling people it's not happening. It didn't happen.
Dude, I took it down, but I pretty much said the truth. You're never going to get your Snyderverse. And if we did, we're no better than what is happening with DC.
Here's the thing, though, why I see it not happening. It's because ever since Man of Steel came out, Zack's been getting a lot of rap, like a bad rap.
Yeah. So it is.
Especially with Sucker Punch, too. He got a lot of bad rap for it.
Yeah. Go on.
And I guess Warner Bros. Like, you know what? We can't take this criticism this much. We're having a bad reputation of it. Let's just start over.
Yeah. Now, I just want to know from you, do you think that the DC comics could go to Marvel if that would ever happens? Do you think that'll ever happen?
I think it might if Marvel, spends a little much more than they offered previous businesses.
Yeah, I could see that. We could have Bendis back. I mean, like, I want Bendis back. I mean, personally, that is just saying a lot. But also another thing is, I'm going to be honest with all of you. I'm going to be dead honest on saying this. I don't think if they do that, Marvel's going to pretty much not going to be the same either. Because if DC goes down, what makes Marvel any better? Because we had that conversation a couple minutes ago on the whole, could this affect Marvel on pretty much ending the 616 and just doing MCU comics? And I think that's going to be more and more likely that's going to end up happening. I mean, just the age of comic books is dying off. And I think
because people want too much fan service is why the comic industry is going down. There's or those who haven't read that long or not just for years.
Not just that, but I just feel like the comic book industry has gone down to such a degree that like both Marvel and DC been trying to reinvent themselves, and some have worked, some have absolutely failed. I mean, sometimes you need to reinvent, but there's sometimes you're just so drastically just doing shit just because that you start to go down the toilet. And I feel
especially with legacy characters, people hate that. People
Yeah, that's
hate
another
change.
thing too. I mean, like people have been like, yeah, it's especially legacy characters been, and yeah, that's another thing too. Like people hate legacy characters with a passion because it's not what I like. It's not what I grew up with. It's not my character that I grew up with. I mean, like they're gonna have to be forced to accept legacy characters.
I mean,
Okay?
come on. We had Azrael as Batman, along with Dick Grayson, who was Batman for a loop after Azrael was going crazy.
Yeah. I heard that, and he was good too. And I love the fact that Grayson was pretty much getting to that point to where okay, he had no other. They had no other option. Wait, whoa, what was this? What was this? Is that John? You know you can come down the link. You know that, right? You know you can come down to join us talk about this. One of the great. Okay, whatever. But anyway, if you want to come down and talk with us, you can come join us if you want. But I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean, here's the thing: Future State showed us what could have happened, and I wish they kept going with it.
I think they still are, if you ask me. With some of the Future States books,
Yeah, like Infinite Frontier is the future.
Dude,
the
Red Hood, the Red Hood comic that just came out, I think last week. Shit, that was good. That was really good.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I never got your thoughts on it, but damn, that was good shit right there. Red Hood being his own character, and there's other people working with him, but it's mainly a Red Hood story. And then at the ending of the comic, you have the Bat family coming in, and it's really good. The only thing I tend to like raise a hand and say, hey, where the fuck is Batman? And then you find out later on, like, oh wait, Batman's technically dead, supposedly. I mean, like, or he faked his death, and you had that Catwoman storyline going. Yeah,
he faked his death, but
What? What'd you say, Ren?
He was practically faking his death. Like he faked his death in, if you see the Dark Detective book.
Oh yeah, I read a bit of that book.
That answers what happened to him.
Okay.
And it connects with the Catwoman story.
All right. I love their marriage, but I'm just saying, and that's another thing too. I mean, I really wish we had more. Like, and I want Batman to get married with Catwoman because that's the only couple I would accept. I don't really think Talia or any other fucking relationship really works for Bruce, and I think personally Bruce.
Yeah, Catwoman's pretty much his equal.
Yeah, and that's the only thing, and the only thing I feel like for Marvel, let's say yours truly, Peter Parker. I think Gwen Stacy is his girl, or I'm going to be somewhat controversial to an extent, and they've been somewhat tiptoeing it. They didn't fully commit it. Let's just put it in that, and that is Captain Marvel herself, Carol Danvers. They had somewhat of a little bit of a flame. You get what I mean?
Spider-Man and Black Cat.
No, that too. But I mean, like Black Cat. Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, I mean, like I always feel like Peter worked for Gwen Stacy. That's just my opinion. And Mary Jane was just nothing more than damage control. That's just my opinion. Well, actually, that's a fact because there's been 30 issues that he was with her, but that's a whole different subject. But I'm just saying, I mean, like, I really wish that they could have explored a little bit more with the relationship. But I mean, with DC Comics, the way it is right now, it's just, yeah, it's a very scary thought. Who's going to be the publisher for DC Comics? And I think people need to start considering either it's going to be Marvel or it's going to be fucking Image. I mean, like, to me, that would just be, oh god, the Image would be so goddamn good. It would be perfect.
I think Image to have more freedom.
That too. You would have so much great, like, and also another thing, you would have that whole father and son with John Kent and Superman be 10 times better. Not feeling it. Oh, we're just literally bringing back the pre-52 Superman just because we want you to buy our Superman comics. Oh, we're just gonna do an nostalgia book just to appeal to you, and we can't do a good damn fucking job on Superman because we're too fucking stupid and we got our head out our asses so far, and we love to insult all the New 52 fans and everyone. Oh, I hated it. I hate that run with a bloody passion. I mean, like, I don't know about you, Ren, but I mean, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, like I was a big fan of New 52 stuff. I was a big fan of the Superman.
Oh, dude, that was shit. That was like, my
this
shit.
is trying the same thing again. But I don't know. It's just
DC's been shit. I mean, let's all face facts.
Right now,
I mean,
their Superman comics are decent because what they're doing now, they're trying to show up of why John becomes a new Superman.
Which is probably going to be the only good thing out of Superman comics now. Because let's all face facts, they didn't even want to fucking give the New 52 writer, the New 52 Superman, should I say, give him a better writers. Give him Scott Snyder. Give him whoever, Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, anyone could make a better Superman comic. No. Scratch all of that. We're going to pretty much get rid of him and replace him with the old fuck. That's been done to death. And it's like, well, what are you going to do with this guy? Oh, make everybody love him. And
apparently they're going to kill him off.
Oh, good. Can't wait for that. I am dying to see that.
Either that or they're going to send him off-world.
That's more likely going to happen. But I'm like, yet again, I just want DC to go to Image now. That's the only thing I want. It's like, for the movies, oh man, expect the worst to happen because you're not going to get the Snyderverse, and like you said, like the Snyderverse ain't going to happen because of. You go on and explain all that crap.
Because all the criticism he had in the past.
Not just that, but also he's not a yes man too.
He kind of was at the time. You know, he obeyed Warner Brothers, but then he started to rebel against their decision. Because of his vision. That's why he stepped down as well, not because only his daughter's death affected him, but I think also because he was battling Warner Brothers for his freedom of creativity.
Well, here's the thing I kind of like. Here's the thing I look at. He's a guy that wants to do stories to where, like, not just that on expressing his vision, but he's also a guy to where, okay, he wants to do his thing. Warner Brothers wants to make money. Like, I'm using the Tim Burton situation for my argument. Tim Burton made a lot of money in their first Batman movie.
Yep.
The second Batman movie, it got a shitload of criticism, and then eventually the Batman movie, Batman Returns, didn't do that well. So they fired Tim Burton silently.
Actually, they didn't fire him. He didn't want to do Batman Forever because the script was really awful. That's why Michael Keaton too didn't want to return.
That's not what I heard.
I heard that Tim Burton didn't like the script.
Oh wow, really? Oh,
because
okay.
They kind of toned it down.
Okay. Because what I've heard is they are gonna like this. I heard behind the scenes. I guess you did a little bit more research. Okay. What I've heard is that they were going to have Tim Burton pretty much be done with Batman after the whole thing of the big meeting that they were going to have, and they pretty much implied they didn't want him anymore. And that kind of wait, what?
I never heard that one before.
You didn't hear that one? That was in behind the scenes of the Batman Returns shit. He said,
really?
Yeah. He said, like, I'll send you it later. He said, he was all for the third Tim Burton Batman movie, and when he came down to go meet them, they're all looking at him like, we don't want you. And that made me think
that he didn't like the script, and then Michael Keaton didn't want to come back because he didn't like the script either. He said it was dumb.
Oh, I didn't hear none of that crap. This was all in that behind the scenes of the making of Batman Returns. And they were pretty much just pushing him away. And it's like, wow, it sounds familiar where we're at right now with.
It's kind of funny though that they're gonna do that when they wanted him to do Superman.
What?
Did you watch the documentary of the Superman movie he was supposed to do?
Oh no, absolutely no.
Yeah, it's the one with Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah, I saw that shit. I heard about that crap. I saw the making of that film. I'm gonna say this: genius concepts, ridiculous fact to do. I mean, shit.
Well, it was the late '90s. I mean, it would have fit in that era.
Oh, it would. Like, I mean, like, for example, I mean, I personally, every time I look at Batman and Robin or Batman Forever, I'm like, it's a perfect, literally, description of what the 90s were. You had bat nipples, and you had Superman all shiny and ish, and it's just like you had long hair.
The difference was, though, the Superman Lives, it wasn't focused on toys like Batman and Robin were.
Yeah, I know. And also another thing, I think personally, and I'm going to say this, I think Nicolas Cage would have done a good job as Superman.
Oh, yeah, he would have done a good job. That was his prime. The 90s was his prime in his acting.
Yeah, we're talking about Nicolas Cage's prime. I think he would have done absolutely killing it. But I think personally, it would be like the whole thing of the Warner Brothers and their situation right now, it's not looking good. It's like, they're going to be basically a different company. Like, I'm going to say this, 5 years from now, be expecting a completely different company in the next 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised DC Comics goes to a different publisher. Granted, how would you feel if DC Comics goes towards Dark Horse? Because they need something.
I'm not that fond of Dark Horse that much. I was into the Alien versus Predator books they had.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that deep into their stuff.
Well, I wasn't in deep into their stuff on not much either until I got into the Predator and Alien comics, and they're really great. But it's just like, it's kind of funny when that whole shit was going off, and pretty much Dark Horse had to basically play Damage Control. Kind of convenient how Fox fucked up that franchise on both franchise, Predator and Alien. But I mean, honestly, I would expect somewhat of them taking it, but it's like there's
I'm thinking this: some characters will go to Image, and some will be sold Dark Horse.
I could see that. Or IDW too.
IDW too. They could sell some characters like Batman and Superman. They could belong to Image.
And I could see Wonder Woman fitting there as well, because I mean, like,
Constantine's and they can go to Dark Horse.
That I can see too. I can see that too.
And IDW, I guess IDW will be like Justice League or Teen Titans.
Teen Titans, yeah. But here's the thing. I mean, like, what will they do? Like, they're gonna have to a lot of, let's say, rework a lot of things. And I mean, like,
yeah, they're gonna have to reboot everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too. And like, personally, do you think this continuity of DC Comics is going to be ending pretty soon? I personally do feel that way.
It kind of feels it, because the legacy characters are coming in slowly. Like, John's becoming Superman in, I think, June or July.
Yeah.
With his book. Mm-hmm. And then we have the next Batman. His solo story is doing good. His second one.
Dude, I'm liking what I'm reading. I'm reading the next Batman stuff. I'm liking what I'm reading, and I would be all for if, let's say, Matt Reeves or Warner Brothers or AT&T wants to do, let's say, a capitalizing on the Sam Wilson Captain America situation, have where we do a trilogy of Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, like I could see them do a TV show of that Batman.
Or that too. I mean, like, we could do something like that. But I mean, it's going to be a very interesting the next couple of years. But I will say this right now: if DC is going to fall in, I don't think Marvel's going to continue doing the 616 stuff. I think and also another thing, it's been a long time since that universe is going on, because I feel like they tried to reboot their universe, but I feel like
Yeah, I
It's
remember they tried to do that with Battle World, and it still became 616.
no, that was their second attempt. The first attempt was Heroes Reborn. Originally, they were going to do. They were kind of like splitting their characters
Yeah.
because, yet again, it's like very similar towards DC and Marvel. Marvel was going through bankruptcy, and they had to sold a couple of characters off. Sony, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, all that stuff. And then eventually they got them all back. But it's just, I think personally, we're seeing the fall of DC. We're slowly seeing that happening. And I honestly feel like DC's going to die. I feel like people are going to blame Jim Lee and also Jeff Johns and Dan DeVito on the death of DC Comics. Do you think
Dan DeVito's not with DC anymore?
Yeah, I know. People will still blame him just because. But I think people will absolutely hate Jeff Johns and Jim Lee because they
I think
allow
they're going
this
to blame
shit.
Jeff Johns for the fall of the movies, comics Jim Lee, because since Jim Lee is the president of the comics now.
I think they're going to blame both. I'm like, that's just how I see it. And I think, and also, I blame Jeff Johns on the movies right now because I think personally he killed the Snyderverse. I blame him for that very reason because I'm like, you could have had Zach literally do his movie, and the rest is history from there. You couldn't tell me you couldn't have him continue his work. You could just somewhat tweak his story, but just that's it.
That's what they're probably say like it does happen. The Snyderverse, all the stuff that we've seen so far, his storyboards, they're not going to happen anymore. He's going to have to rewrite them.
He would have to rewrite it very differently.
Yeah.
Let's say let's have it. Okay. Let's say the Flash movie. It's our way of saying we're going to restore the Snyderverse. Everything's going to be connected. But they would have to retcon Aquaman and Shazam and reintroduce them again.
Same thing with Wonder Woman.
And you could just retcon her second film and the rest is history from there. I mean, like, no one really cares about 84. I mean, like,
yeah, that's true.
like, that's such easy retcon. They'll be like, that didn't happen. Maybe in an alternate universe it did, but it didn't happen this one. But I mean, like, but I don't see it happening. The guy that was supposedly all for Zach's restored the Snyderverse, and the reason why the Snyderverse actually, the same guy who revived the Snyder Cut is gone. Basically, what I'm trying to say is,
yeah,
and I don't think AT&T wants to do a continuation from the Snyderverse. They're going to do their own thing. Why?
Yeah, that's pretty much what they've been focusing on. That's why the Flash movie, it's going to be like, a start of a reboot universe.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not going to criticize it yet. I see how it works because, we're getting Aquaman 2 and then we're getting Shazam 2.
I'll say this right. I don't know where you can go with Aquaman 2 besides after Black Manta. I mean, like we did an entire trilogy in one movie. I mean,
yes,
I feel like
that's true.
I feel like we should have saved small. We should have done a very small movie, then work our way up to have where he becomes king, like Thor, like all these different characters. And it's just, man, oh man, they fucked themselves now. And it's like, if they were going to reboot Aquaman, I would be fucking all for it. I mean, it's just, I don't think it's going to be worthwhile. Maybe they'll try to pull something out of their ass. But I mean, I don't know. I think Aquaman 2 might be good, but I don't think it's going to be that enjoyable because after the whole Amber Heard situation, oh boy, I don't think that's going to really work. I don't think that's going to be going so well with the fucking movie audience after what she did to Johnny Depp's career.
I'm only going to watch the movie because supporting him.
What do you say?
I'm only going to watch the movie because it's for Jason Momoa. I don't care about Amber Heard.
I do. I know that. I'm sure I'm sure Amber Heard is gonna have a small role in this film. But I mean, I just feel like with Warner Brothers going down the toilet, and it's a long downhill. I mean, personally, I think the CW shit is going to go downhill. Oh, by the way, I think personally, and I'm going to say this right now, there is a lack of marketing on Titans. Where the fuck is Titan season 3 trailer? Huh?
You're still filming.
Still filming. Oh my god! You might as well just release it next year. I mean, like, it's
there's still time. We got 2 more months. You know, they could release it. They can release it either in July or September.
That is true. That is true. I heard they were going to release it on June or July. That's what I also heard. But then I also heard they're going to release it on August, and I'm like, make up your mind. Are you going to do it in June?
Well, you got to remember the pandemic in Canada because they're filming in Canada.
Yeah, I know the pandemic has really kind of affected a lot of things. So I mean, like, maybe you could have that whole excuse, but I mean, if that's the case, you might just fucking release it next year. I mean, like, if you ask me, but I mean, it is what it is. We'll see how things go.
Well, here's the thing, though, it's going to be on HBO Max anyway. It's not going to be on the DC app anymore.
Yeah, and that whole thing was such a bust. I mean, like,
yeah, they should have made it internationally too, like Netflix does it.
Yeah.
They would have saved it.
Had so much shit on their disposal. They should have had free comic books going in there. You could read free. You could read free comics in DC app. You could also read. You could also watch old cartoons. You could also watch independent animated movies from DC Animation Studio. You'll also find news and updates on what's the writers of DC are doing, and also sneak peeks of their upcoming movies. Shit like that would have been, all right, let's go forward. And they kind of did that in the end, but it's like too little too late. And when finally the content released, it was done. It was shit. And yes, we got Young Justice season 3. Yeah, we got fucking Titans and Doom Patrol. But then after that, it just crashed and burned. And I really just feel like, what was the whole point of this whole thing? Nothing. It was just dog crap.
And I think really they were test running it still.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers or whoever was in charge of the whole DC universe should have realized this wasn't going to end up very well.
They should have just started with comics only.
That too. But
Marvel has Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah, that too. But we'll see how things go. I wanted to talk to you about this as well. I talked about this with Tevye, and Tevye was all against Image and all that stuff, and he didn't want to have his stuff be erased and be rebooted. And I'm like, come on, Tevye. Okay, think about Invincible. How would you feel if that same storytelling was in Superman with John
People
Kent?
would love Superman that way because look what you try to do. They try to reinvent him to make it where he's readable.
Yeah, and also another thing too, you could have where he's passing the torch towards his son. You wouldn't have that bullshit excuse of, oh yeah, John Kent, you went down to a portal, aged you up a bit, and then that's why you're becoming Superman in this forced, dumb way. And honestly, I really think it needs to happen that way. Because, I mean, like, I'm going to say this right now. Superman comics are just trash. I take back every word I said about the New 52. All back. Because now I'm like, this is garbage. The Rebirth was garbage. The only thing you had was John Kent. And yeah, the stories were great. But if you take him away, what do you have with Superman? Nothing. And nostalgia goggles of those 40-year-old little farts that don't read the current comic books and they don't really care. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And I really just feel like, it's best to just give it to Image. Granted, it would be kind of funny if they give it to Marvel, but I mean, and fun fact, I would kill to see a Jason Aaron run of Superman. Oh God! Did you read the Heroes Reborn issue 2?
I haven't read it, but I saw some panels where Galactus got his head blown off by Hyperion.
Yeah. It's basically Superman all over, like him. Like I want you to go read the issue when this whole conversation is over, which will be in a few minutes. Go read that issue, the second issue. You couldn't tell me Jason Aaron would not do a hell of a run on Superman, and I think he would have, because the way he was written, Hyperion, I'm thinking this is a Superman. They basically turn him into Superman. They're embracing, and that's another thing. When you have Marvel embracing the DC, and you have Barbara Gordon, aka Gwen Stacy, becoming fucking Batgirl, and I'm like, it's Batgirl.
Yeah.
I mean, crying out loud. I mean, Marvel is doing a better job with doing DC comics than DC themselves. I mean, it's just such very little. And also another thing, I've given up on Titans. I really have. I mean, like, I think the last great run was the New 52 on Titans. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you
Jason
feel?
Aaron did for a while.
Huh?
Jason Aaron, the guy you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
He did some DC comics.
Yeah, I know. What he did?
He did one called The Other Side, Scalped, DC Friday the 13th. He did Hellblazer with Sean Gordon Murphy.
I get what you're saying, but anyway, well, honestly, I think he would do a great run on Superman. But yet again, anything that Jason Aaron has done is always gold in my eyes. Hell, he made Thor to be greatness, because in my opinion, Thor hasn't been really that good in a long time for me. I'm a Silver Age fan. I like Thor in that particular time period. And I really feel like ever since they made him not becoming king anymore, it just destroyed that character. And I really hope they don't do that again with the current comics, but knowing them, they'll probably do it. It's just, I really feel like no matter where we go with the entertainment business, it's changing to such a degree that I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised it goes to a different publisher. But I mean, I'm hoping it goes to Image Comics, because I mean, like, they could reinvent Superman, they can give him new villains to go with, and you would have that whole storytelling with John Kent and Superman, like Invincible did with Omni-Man. You get what I mean? I mean, shit. I mean, like, I would love to see a crossover shit with that stuff. You get what I mean on the whole thing?
Yeah.
I mean, like, but I mean, like, before final thoughts, I mean, like, what do you feel about the whole fall of DC? This is only part one, guys. This is only part one. We're going to be talking about this for a while. So how do you feel about this? Like, movies and video games. How would you feel Capcom?
I feel like it was bound to happen sooner or later, because nothing lasts forever.
Yeah,
especially ever since AT&T bought Warner Brothers. It's like, okay, maybe there's going to be some changes. Maybe comics will be better, and maybe they'll have their own studio one day, with the movie production. But it turns out, none of that's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tevye wanted to have that as well, because I'm like, no way. It's just not going to happen. I mean, me and him had a long talk about this stuff. But anyway, maybe we'll have Tevye eventually when this shit gets really further and more updates on this crap, because, I mean, I would be happy if Capcom took the fighting Warner Brothers games, NetherRealm Studios, in their division. Hell, it would be great to see NetherRealm doing a Street Fighter game. How awesome would be that? I mean, like, shit. I mean, like, that would be great. And hell, we could have that big crossover between Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter. It would be great. But we'll see how things go. Anyway.
Yep.
You want to reveal your channel? Right, you want to talk?
Other Gothic Churro on Twitter.
All right.
And my YouTube, it's not fully developed yet, so I'll put a link later.
All right. We'll send the link down below, so I'll see you guys later. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys later, and stay tuned for more videos on Mass Effect, and yeah, later.